G, hopefully you got memorized already. And now, today and this week, work on memorizing this D chord. And then the next one, we're going to add one more in the song. It's a 3-chord song, basically, is A minor. So let's do that now. A minor, you'll find on the handout, this grid over here, the last one, A minor. Notice that we don't have to specify minor or major for these first 2 chords. If we just say G, if we just say D, that implies that it's a major chord, right? There's that happy sound. But if it's a minor chord, we got to specify minor. A lot of times abbreviated MIN or lowercase m. If you see that, that also indicates minor. So A minor is the next one. So if this is new to you, you can kind of pause and look at the grid from the handout. Make sure that's clear, but I'll talk you through it. A minor is the 2nd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Alright, so leave that one down. And then the 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. So same fret. And then the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. And then you want the 1st string open, and you want the 5th string open as well. And then try strumming through those. So next week we're going to get to using the pick and a strumming pattern for this song. But for today, you can just kind of strum with the back of the fingernail, pretending you're holding a pick like this. And then we're going to mix in some strumming patterns with the pick starting on Monday. Alright, so that's A minor. So once you got it, take a look at it. All these chords have a specific shape to kind of memorize visually. And then take the hand all the way off. And then find it again. A minor. And then try it again. You can go one string at a time. Sounds clear. Again, you'll have to be right up on the fingertips on this chord. If it flattens out, you might be hearing this right now. You're hearing a lot of that kind of muted sound. You're not up on the fingertips enough, or you could be right on the metal. So make sure looking at the left hand. I never need to look at the right hand, but you should be looking at the left hand while you're learning these chords, checking that finger angle, making sure you're up straight into the strings as much as you can. You're seeing the lines right on the fingertips when you make these chords. A lot of times the culprit can be this 3rd finger flattening out just a tiny bit, and then you're going to get a muted sound. So it's going to take some practice this week to get the D and the A minor clearly so you can hear all the notes if these are new for you. And then once you find it, take the hand all the way off again, and then find it as quick as you can, etc. So that's something you want to practice. Just take the hand off, find it. As soon as you got it, sounds good, take it off. Do that a bunch of times. Doesn't take long to practice that. Take the hand off, find it until it's just muscle memory. You can find it instantly. Alright, but you want to memorize these 3 chords, G, D, and A minor. So really writing them out on the grids is just for initially learning them, but then to actually use them to make music out of, chords have to be memorized. Alright, so there's only 3 of them so far in the semester, G, D, and A minor. And then we're going to put them together starting Monday in this song, Knocking on Heaven's Door. But for now, you can try this just strumming them, let's say 4 times each. So we go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go down. For now, we're just going to use a simple quarter note down, up strum. And then we'll do a more interesting strum pattern that's written out here in the bottom starting on Monday. But for this week, just do even quarter notes, so it sounds like this. Going back to G, up, switch to D, which might take a minute for you if these are new. Find the D chord, and then do the strumming pattern there. Up, and then find the A minor, which might take a minute for you if these are new. Find the A minor, and then do the strumming pattern there. Up, except that one we're going to do 2 measures. Down, up, and then repeat back to G again. So let's go through that a couple times. Back to G, make the chord, make sure it's correct, and then do the strumming. Up, that D chord. Once it's good, up, notice I'm only strumming the top 4 strings on that one. Find the A minor chord. Now I'm going to strum 5 strings, so it might take a minute to find it. Get that A minor right, and then up, another measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G. Find that G chord. So eventually you're speeding up the time it takes you to find the chords. That's the key to this. So for now, there's going to be a little pause while you find the next chord. So back to G. Up, and then the D chord. Find that. 1 measure each. Up, find the A minor chord. Probably took you longer to find that D chord than we just did, if these are new, but now finding the A minor. Get the fingers right, and then A minor. Up, down, up, 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, back to G. G chord. Up, D chord. D will take a little longer for you to find the D chord. Alright, you got the D chords. Stack them up low to high if these are new. Make sure it's correct. And then down, up, down. Only strumming the top 4 strings. And as I'm strumming, that's more of an from the elbow type swinging motion once we get into with the pick next week. But it's really a relaxed kind of swinging motion. You're not swooping the strings like this. You want to create one sound with your stroke. Alright, so it just makes one sound all the way through the strings, and then to A minor. Up, again. Alright, and so that's the chords to Knocking on Heaven's Door. And then, as I said, on Monday we'll do this chord strum at the bottom here, which is down, 2, 2, 2. So that's the goal by the time we learn this song. But for now, just practice it with even, down, up, quarter notes, then switch to D, down, up, switch to A minor, down, up. So remember, the handout is on the course materials in Blackboard, so memorize those chords for D and A minor this week, and then just practice finding them, take the handoff, find them again. Alright, so we're mixing in that song this week to practice as well. And then a couple last things today. We're going to talk a little bit about the classical guitar itself. And that is this classical guitar is the style we'll get into more on Monday. But classical guitar refers to a style, a genre of music, which is obviously classical music played on the guitar. But it also refers specifically to the style of instrument itself. And this is a classical guitar. All right. So classical guitar is really the style of the body style of the guitar that we refer to as a classical guitar. Originates in Spain. So Spain, a very important country in the history of the guitar. So when we talk about the classical guitar itself, there's a few key differences with most of you have steel string guitars, and we've been playing steel string guitars in our class at school. The biggest difference right off the bat is the strings are made of nylon on the classical guitar. So if you can see the strings on here, they really have a different material altogether. They're made of nylon. And even the bass strings, 6th, 5th, and 4th, are nylon core, and then they have a thin wrap around the outside of them. But they're nylon as well. So that gives the strings a very different sound. You get kind of a very warm, sweet sound, or what we call a ponticello sound when you pick down by the bridge. But it has a very different sound and feel than the steel strings if you pick them up. So we mentioned, I think, going all the way back to the first week of class, the main differences of acoustic guitar steel string and nylon string. So in addition to hearing the nylon strings in classical guitar and flamenco, also most all Latin music uses the nylon string. And that's the Spanish influence, you know, coming over to Central and South America and bringing the guitars way back. The classical guitar, so that's the first difference that comes to mind, is the strings themselves being nylon instead of steel. But there's some others as well. So notice that there's no fingerboard dots or inlays. In a traditional Spanish classical guitar, it's just a blank fingerboard. So no dots, no inlays. The neck is much wider this way than a steel string. If you picked up a traditional Spanish classical guitar, the neck feels totally different. It's much wider this way, and usually thinner this way, but wider top to bottom. The fingerboard and the neck is wider. So it feels really different than a standard steel string. And then notice the headstock is different as well. We've got what we call a slotted headstock. So the tuners are going backwards on this, and it's a different style of tuner where it goes across in between the strings like this. So we call that a slotted headstock. So that's different style of tuners. And then the nylon strings, instead of, if any of you have ever changed a steel string, you know, they have the little round ball end on the end of them. So if you take a look down at your guitar, if you haven't changed strings and it's a steel string, you'll see it has a little round ball end on the end of it. The nylon strings are wrapped through the end of the bridge, so it's a different style of bridge. You feed it through the hole and then do a couple wraps around and then just pull it. So they're wrapped rather than ball end strings. And then there's some differences about the bracing inside the guitar as well. And then not even any side dots usually. I've got one side dot I can't live without on the 7th fret, but a traditional Spanish classical guitar doesn't even have side dots as well. So they make a lot of nylon strings these days, and maybe you've played one that is what we call a crossover nylon string. So it's kind of a mix of, it has the nylon strings, but it has the feel more of a steel string guitar. It might have a cutaway and a steel string size neck. That's what we call really a crossover nylon. But if you pick up a traditional Spanish classical guitar, which is what this is, the neck feels really different, and there's no dots or fingerboard inlay, finger side dots even. And then also the action is going to be much higher on a classical guitar than it is on a steel string. The action being how high the strings are off the fingerboard. All right, that's what we call the action. So it's much higher on a classical guitar. You wouldn't be able to play a steel string if the action was this high. So that's how you can get these nice kind of singing notes up on the first string that you couldn't get if the action was low. All right, so we'll talk more about classical guitar next week on Monday, but you want to be practicing 11, 12, and 13 from the book, as well as Knocking on Heaven's Door for Monday. All right, so there we are. I hope everybody's staying safe and well, and you can look for these videos on each regular class day. The next one will be posted on Monday. All right, so be well, everybody, and I'll practice away as much as you can, and I will see you on Monday.